Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We sift through the sources, bringing you the stories that, well, really shaped our world. And today, we're tackling something huge, a topic that's both this amazing feat of human brain power and, honestly, a chilling look at our own power to destroy. We're calling it Flash and Shadow, the story of the atomic bomb.
Now, you probably know the basics, but our mission here is to dig deeper, help you really get the origins, the intense creation process, how it was used, and its long, long shadow. This wasn't just another event. It fundamentally changed everything. So let's start that journey. Secret labs, blinding flashes. Let's see what really stands out.
It's definitely a vital story to unpack. Because, like you said, this weapon, it didn't just wrap up the deadliest war ever. Kicked off a whole new age, the nuclear age, everything changed. Global conflict, power, it all shifted irreversibly right then.
Yeah, irreversibly, that's the word.
And it's a story packed with incredible science, sure, but also decisions. Decisions so heavy they almost feel impossible to even think about now. Absolutely. And to get a handle on those choices, we kind of have to go back, right, back to the late 1930s. Europe was, right on the brink. Again, tensions super high. But while all that was happening politically, in labs, quietly, scientists were unlocking something world-altering. So 1938, German scientists Otto Hahn, Fritz Strassmann, they managed to split the atom, which is just wow.
Right, and crucially, it was Lise Meitner, brilliant physicist, forced into exile in Sweden, who actually explained what they'd done. She coined it nuclear fission. Basically, you hit a uranium nucleus with a neutron, it splits, releases just immense energy way beyond chemical reactions and more neutrons.
And that's the key part, isn't it? The more neutrons.
Exactly. For most people, okay, abstract physics. But for guys like Leo Szilard, the implication hit like a ton of bricks. Terrifyingly clear. He saw it immediately. Those extra neutrons could split other nuclei, a chain reaction. And that chain reaction, that could mean a bomb. A single bomb powerful enough to wipe out a city.
Unthinkable at the time.
Oh, completely. And Schiller's wasn't just thinking science. He was thinking Hitler. The absolute dread was that Nazi Germany gets this first. That fear. It's what pushed him. He got Einstein involved, drafted that famous letter to President Roosevelt in 1939. The warning was blunt. A new bomb is possible. We must act before the enemy does. That letter, you could say, it lit the fuse for the Manhattan Project.
An undertaking unlike anything before it. So the U.S. enters the war after Pearl Harbor, and suddenly it's a full-on race. The government throws unbelievable resources, money, people into this ultra-secret effort.
And leading it,
General Leslie Groves. Tough guy. Known for getting things done, he just built the Pentagon, so yeah, he knew big projects under pressure.
he certainly did. And for the scientific side, he picked J. Robert Oppenheimer. Brilliant physicist, maybe a bit complicated, but crucially, he had this talent for bringing brilliant minds together, getting them focused.
So this Manhattan Project, it wasn't just one place.
Oh, not at all. It was huge. A hidden network across the country, really a secret world. 3 main spots, each doing something vital. Oak Ridge, Tennessee. That's where they did the mind-boggling job of separating out the rare uranium-235 isotope needed for a bomb. Just a colossal industrial effort.
Okay.
Then Hanford, Washington. They built these huge new reactors specifically to breed plutonium, another artificial element that could fuel a bomb. Fissile material, as they say.
Right, plutonium.
And then the nerve center, really, Los Alamos, New Mexico, high on this remote desert mesa. That's where Oppenheimer and his team actually designed the bombs. Tens of thousands worked at these places, Most had no clue what the end goal was. Some joked about working for Uncle Sam's laundry service.
Wow, total secrecy.
Total secrecy, intense isolation, and one single terrifying objective: weaponize the atom before the Germans or anyone else did.
Okay, so Los Alamos, designing the bombs. It wasn't just one design, was it?
No, that's a key point. Uranium and plutonium, they're both fissile. They can sustain a chain reaction, but they behave differently. So they needed 2 different approaches. First was a little boy that used uranium. It was, relatively speaking, simpler, a gun-type design. Think of it like firing one piece of uranium into another piece very fast to create that critical mass needed for the explosion.
Like a cannon, almost.
Sort of, yeah. The main difficulty there was actually getting enough of that enriched uranium-235. That stuff is rare. The second design, though, Fat Man, that was way trickier. It used plutonium.
Okay, why was that one so much harder?
Well, the plutonium they were making in the Hanford reactors, it turned out to be pretty unstable. It had isotopes that would cause it to fizzle, pre-detonate if you just tried to slam 2 pieces together like the uranium bomb. It wouldn't work. So they needed a totally different idea. Implosion. The plan was to surround a core of plutonium with conventional explosives shaped just right. then detonate them all at the exact same microsecond, perfectly symmetrical. This creates this massive inward pressure wave, crushing the plutonium core, making it dense enough to go critical.
That sounds incredibly precise.
Oh, unbelievably so. The timing, the engineering, it was cutting-edge stuff. Like you said, sources often call little boy brute force and fat man delicate genius. Success depended entirely on those explosive charges firing with near-perfect synchronicity.
So they have the designs.
Yeah.
They need to test it, right? Especially the complex one, Fat Man.
Exactly. By July 1945, they were ready. The implosion design needed proof. They chose this desolate spot in the New Mexico desert, the Jornada del Muerto, Journey of the Dead Man. Grim name.
Yeah, a bit ominous.
That's where they set up for the world's first nuclear test. Codename, Trinity. July 16th, 5:29 a.m. The desert just exploded with light. Night became day, brighter than the sun, blinding flash. Then the shockwave felt over 100 miles off, and that cloud, that terrifying mushroom cloud climbing into the dawn sky.
Hard to even picture.
It really is. Oppenheimer himself famously thought of that line from the Bhagavad Gita, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." Because the test, well, it wasn't just a success, it was almost too successful. The power was just undeniable, raw, overwhelming.
Even for the people who built it.
Especially for them, I think. And that immediately raised the next huge question. The war in Europe was over. Germany surrendered back in May. So
Yeah.
What now? What do you do with this monster you've created?
Right, because the original justification, the race against Germany, was gone. But Japan was still fighting. Fiercely.
Exactly. And the U.S. military planners were looking at Operation Downfall and the planned invasion of Japan. And the projections, they were horrific. Hundreds of thousands of American casualties, maybe millions of Japanese casualties. A bloodbath. That fear, the cost of invasion, loomed incredibly large.
So the bomb becomes an option to avoid that.
It becomes the option on the table. But it wasn't simple. There was intense debate. Some scientists, horrified by Trinity, pushed for demonstration. Explode one on an empty island, maybe. Show the Japanese leaders the power, hope they surrender. The Frank report from Manhattan Project scientists pleaded for caution, warned against using it on a city first.
But that wasn't the path taken.
No. Others argued only dropping it on a city without warning would be shocking enough. Convinced Japan's leadership it was hopeless. The interim committee, advising President Truman, recommended exactly that. Use it on a city, no warning. Truman made the final call. His thinking seems to have been, well, multi-layered. End the war fast, save American lives from the invasion, possibly save Japanese lives too, compared to a drawn-out invasion. And maybe also justify the immense cost, the $2 billion spent on the Manhattan Project.
Just the weight of that decision. Unimaginable.
Truly. Whatever path he chose, the human cost was going to be immense.
And so the decision led to August 6, 1945, the B-29, Enola Gay, over Hiroshima. 8:15 in the morning, little boy is dropped seconds later. That flash, brighter than anything. A fireball that just vaporized the center of the city, then the shockwave flattening buildings for miles, fires everywhere.
Yeah, instant devastation.
Tens of thousands killed instantly in those stories. The shadows burned onto walls where people had been standing. Just harrowing. By the end of 45, the estimate is around 140,000 dead from Hiroshima alone.
Just 3 days later, August 9th, another B-29, this time carrying Fat Man, the plutonium bomb. The main target, Kokura, was clouded over, so they went to the secondary, Nagasaki, 11:02 a.m. detonation. Nagasaki's geography, its hills and valleys, offered a little protection in some areas compared to flat Hiroshima, but still, huge parts of the city were just obliterated, around 70,000 dead there by year's end.
2 bombs in 3 days.
And something else happened on August 9th, crucially. The Soviet Union declared war on Japan and invaded Manchuria, so Japan was facing this. Atomic bombs from the sky, the Red Army advancing on the ground, the leadership, they finally saw no way out. August 15th, Emperor Hirohito speaks to the nation, totally unprecedented, announces surrender. And he specifically mentions the new and most cruel bomb.
World War II was over.
It was over. But yeah, like we said, a new age had dawned.
In America, there was huge celebration, relief, but shadowed by this. Staggering human cost in Japan. The survivors, the hibakusha, they faced not just the physical horrors, radiation sickness, cancers later on, but also deep trauma and sadly, even social stigma back home.
And even among the creators, unease. Oppenheimer's blood on his hands comment to Truman, Einstein's deep regrets. They knew what they'd unlocked.
A threshold crossed.
Absolutely. And the bomb didn't just end that war, it fundamentally reshaped everything that came after. It launched the nuclear age. And the escalation was fast, terrifyingly fast. Soviets test their own bomb in '49. America loses its monopoly. Then come hydrogen bombs thousands of times stronger. The Cold War balance of terror begins. Mutual assured destruction. MAD.
Which raises that big question, right? Why haven't they been used again in war since '45?
It's the great paradox, isn't it? In a strange, awful way, the sheer undeniable horror of Hiroshima and Nagasaki might be the very thing that's prevented their use again. That demonstration of what they can do, it created a taboo, a deep fear shared even by adversaries. But that first flash, it still casts this incredibly long shadow. Every treaty negotiation, every arms race, every near miss during the Cold War, it all echoes back to Trinity, Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, it really hits home. The bomb was maybe science's biggest leap forward, yet also humanity's darkest creation.
Both things at once.
It ended one world war, yes,
Yeah.
but it absolutely started this age of fear we're still living in.
You know, Oppenheimer said something profound later. He said that after Trinity, physicists had known sin.
Yeah.
It captures that feeling, that irreversible step. Once you split the atom like that, you can't put it back. You can't unknow it. That flash over Japan, it wasn't just the end of World War II. It was truly the beginning of our time, the nuclear age. And all of us, you listening right now, we're all still living inside that shadow, shaped by it whether we realize it every day or not.